Ok, vamos. Ok, vamos. Okay. Is anybody out there? Out there? Out there? Testing. 1, 2, 3. We got anyone in the chat here? Anyone in the chat? Can you confirm? Can you confirm for me that we're live? That we're good? Is anybody out there? Otherwise, we're just going to get started. We're going to rip through this. Because we got some heat coming your way, brother. I want to feel your love. I don't think we can actually play music on this on YouTube. So I think I'll just have to sing for you guys for the music. I want to feel your love. I want to feel your love. I want to feel your love. Fun fact for anyone listening, anyone viewing, I used to stream video games. So I'm actually not new to this. I'm not new to this. But usually I'd be playing video games, I'd be playing music when I did that live streaming. I played video games, I played music, I talked with people. And now it's just me sitting here talking. So this is more fun. But this is what I do on my channel, right? I usually have the camera right up here in this room. And it's right here where you see my videos. So that's what you're seeing here. Anyone in the chat? Anyone in the chat? Can anyone confirm? Okay. Okay, well, we're going to get into this. I just need to confirm that the sound is working. I just need to confirm that the sound is working. Yep. Okay. Okay, so this stream here, we're going to be covering the self-concept. I'm excited for this because this is live. You know, usually when I make my videos, I have a little script, I have a little something about what I'm going to say. But man, when it comes to becoming more articulate with your work and actually being able to speak these things through on the fly, this is a whole nother thing, right? I made a video on whatever it is you're working on, right? Most of the people I connect with are entrepreneurial type of people, digital marketers, because that's where I started. Sales professionals. Those are usually the people I connect with and the clients that I've worked with. And I've talked about, you know, becoming more fluent with whatever it is you're working on. And this is a great way to do this. Whatever it is you're working on, you know, post content about it, write about it, make videos about it, speak about it on the fly. And you're just going to see yourself become more and more fluent with your work. You're going to feel yourself over time just reach this level of mastery that separates you from a lot of people in your line of work. Because not everyone's willing to do that stuff. Not everyone's willing to go about their work like they're learning a new language. You got to read it, you got to write it, you got to listen, you got to speak it. You want all four of those. Okay? So, we got anyone in the chat out there? Anyone in the chat? We're going to get started. The topic of the stream is the self-concept. The self-concept, where reality creation begins. the self-concept. And this is the first live stream on this channel. The first live stream on this channel. So let's go into our other view here. So this self-concept, what are we going to be speaking about with this stream here? The self-concept. And, you know, I want to start with this quote here, because this is really like the foundational. So let me check if we're good. Okay, we're good. This is the foundational quote. This is the foundational idea that really inspired me to get into this kind of work. It's thinking about those things where it's like, where does success begin? How does someone become successful? Where does it stem from? Where's the base form? You know, where's the foundational level? And man, there's this guy named Earl Nightingale from the mid-1900s. He has this video, this book, I think it's a book too. It's called The Strangest Secret. And basically, the whole idea of that book is you become what you think about. You become what you think about. And for this reason, and this idea of the self-concept, the identity level, that seems to be the place where success stems from. Not only what you think about, but what you think about yourself. How do you view yourself? Right? How do you view yourself? This is something to become aware of. How do you view yourself? What do you think about? What do you think about on a regular basis? And what we're going to get into with this Miro board here is that we often don't even know what we're thinking about. That's the thing. You become what you think about. It sounds very simple, but a lot of us, with our overstimulation and all of our consuming today, we don't even really know what we're thinking about. It's such a war zone in there. There's thoughts going everywhere that we're overstimulated. So we're going to put this together really in a really simple and nice way, okay? So let's actually get started with this one right here. So I came across this diagram called the mind diagram from a seminar by Bob Proctor. We have the mind diagram. This is from a seminar by Bob Proctor, a very famous, popular name in this place, or in this space. And he has this seminar on YouTube called You Were Born Rich. It's like 12 hours long. It's a really nice seminar. There's like 6 parts to it. And in that seminar is where I first saw this diagram to explain and understand the mind in a more simple way, more straightforward, simple way, okay? And he mentions in the seminar, I don't think he even really knows where he found this, but it's something that we can all use to simplify things. So if we look at this as the mind, okay, this is the mind diagram. We're going to call this one the conscious mind. Because the whole point of understanding the mind at a more simplistic level is so that we can understand how this quote works. You become what you think about. But we need to clean things up in here, okay? Because like I said, most of us don't really know what we're thinking about because there's so much overstimulation, there's so many thoughts going around that it creates an overwhelm. And that's what we manifest into our lives because of it. We think in chaos and too many thoughts and overstimulation, so we feel overstimulation, we feel too much, over-consuming, overwhelmed, and our results reflect that. So we're going to call this half up here the conscious mind. Remember, this is the mind diagram, so we're understanding the mind at a more simplistic level. We're going to call this one down here the subconscious mind. Okay? So we have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. So with the conscious mind, we can say that this is thinking. With the conscious mind, we think. Okay? Or we have the ability to think. Okay? So, let me check the chat real quick. Okay? With the subconscious mind, this is the lost art of feeling. Okay? So if we want to communicate something different to the universe, we have to feel something different to be true. Okay? So you might have heard Dr. Joe Dispenza mention this idea in the work that he does, very similar to this. He talks about brain and heart coherence, where if you have these two working in harmony with one another, that's when the real magic happens. That's when you can create stuff. And you can communicate a different energy to the universe about who you are, what you deserve, where you belong, what you're doing. And we only communicate this right now. Only in the present moment does this get communicated. But we have to become aware that the conscious mind is used for thinking. We can create pictures in our mind. We can create thoughts in our mind. We can create images in our mind, and we can match them with a feeling. We can match them with the good feelings that are associated with our desires, with our desired reality. So we get very clear on what does our desired reality look like? What do we even want? You got to get clear on that first. Create massive clarity about what it is that you want. What do those pictures look like? And also, what are the feelings associated with it? Okay? So we have to create the experience in our mind for it to be reflected on the outside. We have to create the experience in our mind. We have to feel the experience, the feelings, the emotions, the sensory experiences that go with it, right? The taste, touch, smell, hearing. We match the two in order to put our bodies in the correct mode of operation. Okay? So, if we take this a step further, let's scroll down here. This is the full diagram. Okay? This is the mind diagram from that Bob Proctor seminar that I mentioned. Okay? So, like we mentioned, we have the conscious mind, we have the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is thinking, the subconscious mind is feeling. So we need to match the two in order to put our bodies on the correct vibration in order to take the correct action. You'll notice when you begin to let these things marinate in your mind, when you begin to let your desired reality marinate in your mind and all the feelings and sensory experiences that go with it, you'll notice that your mind is going to be like a heat-seeking missile, and it's going to find the things in your environment to make that desired reality true to you. So when you have the thing that you're focusing on in your mind, it puts you on this different vibration, this different mode of operation for you to take action. And this is what Bob Proctor was getting at in his seminar when he showed this. We take action based on how we feel. If you didn't feel that there was even a possibility of you being that person, getting those results, then you wouldn't take action. And we can use thinking to make us feel a certain way. Okay? So let's run through an example here. Okay? So let's just say you want to move countries. Okay? we can create the picture in our mind of that new country that you want to live in. We can consciously think about that image. And you'll notice that when it comes to meditation and visualization, you actually get better at being able to visualize images in your mind. You actually get better at seeing these things over time as you practice it. It's like a muscle to be trained. When you use your conscious mind to create an image in your mind and direct your focus, you get better at creating the picture in your mind and living that experience in here. So if our desired reality is living in a new country, okay? Say living in a new country. We can create the images that go with that in our mind, right? We can use that consciously. So we can see the landscapes. We can see ourselves sitting in that cafe, drinking the coffee. We can see ourselves sitting in that cafe in this new country and hearing the foreign language being spoken around us. And as you think about these things, you match the feelings associated with it. So you can match those feelings with the sounds around you. You live this experience in your mind. You taste, touch, smell, hear. You feel the table that you're sitting at. As you're sitting in this cafe in a foreign country, you hear the foreign language being spoken around you. You hear the Spanish being spoken around you. You look up and you see the people sitting next to you. So you create this experience in your mind and you live from the end result. Okay? You live from the end result in your mind. You get the images and you get the feelings associated with them. This is how you communicate this to the subconscious mind. This is where you communicate a different energetic message to the universe about the experience you're having right now. You've probably heard before that the mind doesn't know the difference between an experience that is happening in here and one that's happening out here. So like the video that I just uploaded on my channel, you can confuse the universe, if you want to look at it like that, into getting the result that you want. You can create the experience out here for it to be reflected out here. It's essentially what we're getting at, okay? So we create the thoughts in our mind, the images. We match the feelings associated with them by living out that experience in our mind, right? That puts us in that energetic state, in that experiential state, that vibratory state, to attract those things towards us. And that's where we take action on those things. That's where our mind finds the way, and that's where we get the results because of it. I actually just had a call with a client today where he has a graphic design service, and you know, we've only been meeting for a short time here, but randomly just through the past week together, he had this project come through of graphic design work. And it was a random project, very, very, very unexpected. But this is a result of putting yourself in this feeling state of this is who you are now. At an identity level, we want to view ourselves like the person who gets the result. We want to feel ourselves to be that person now and living that experience so that we can attract and it can be reflected out here. Okay? So, I think we've spent enough time with this. I think we've spent enough time with this diagram here. If anyone's in the chat and can confirm that you can hear me okay, I would appreciate that. Anyone in the chat, and can anyone confirm on the volume of things? Okay, so now that we've taken time to understand this, okay, because when I saw this just made a lot of sense for me. And it's something to experiment with yourself, right? Because you can take in as much information as you want. You can learn about things. But if you don't experience it for yourself, then there's no grip to it, right? The real needle mover is when you experience it for yourself. So, if we take time to understand this, we can move on to a little diagram that I put together here. And this is what I like to call the mind-matter ecosystem, okay? So, let's start with this middle part here. Okay? Let's start with the middle part here. We have our results. We have our physical results out here. Down below the surface is where the self-concept lies. Okay? This is where our results, our actual results, stem from. If you think about planting an apple tree, if the goal is apples, then if a success is eating these nice apples, right? Then the source of the success would be below the surface here, would be this root system, where it all came from. That seed that you planted below the surface. That'd be the source of where your results came from here. So the self-concept can be compared to this. It's a subconscious thing. It's your paradigm. It's your concept of self. It's how you view yourself. So like this mind diagram here, we need to take time and we need to acknowledge the way that we view ourselves. Because like I mentioned at the beginning of this stream here, we often don't even know what we're thinking about. There's so much going on in the conscious mind with overstimulation and phones and scrolling and porn and people and more. It's just, there's so much consuming that we're overwhelmed, we're overstimulated, and our results reflect that. But you'll notice when you clear that up, when you start to clean up some of that stuff in your conscious mind through a practice like meditation, you'll notice that things quiet down. Things clear out. You get more organized in there, and you can become more aware of the things that you're thinking about and where you're putting that thought energy. Okay? So we need to become aware of the things that we're thinking about. Because down below the surface here, we have your self-concept. And up above the surface here, we can think of these clouds here like our thoughts, our beliefs, inner stories, images, like we spoke about over here. Our thinking, conscious thoughts, right? Our conscious results. But we need both. We need both the images, the thoughts. We need to connect them with the feelings as well. So we need to connect them with the feelings of prosperity, abundance, certainty. And this is where both the heart down here and the mind up here work together. But you need the nourishment. You need both to work together, right? You don't just plant a seed and then there's no nurturing process. Nothing happens, right? No, you plant a seed, it gets watered, nourished, nurtured, and it grows. So you need both in this way. You need the thoughts, and you also need the feelings associated with it. This is where these thoughts connect with the feelings below the surface, and this is what feeds into your self-concept. And over time, you see your results reflect that. Okay? But we need to become aware of what we're actually thinking about. Because a lot of people, and I came across this for myself too, the way that we linger on fear and lack and not enough and scarcity. Oh my goodness, man. The scarcity mentality. Wow. So we let those things linger in our minds, right? Those images, those stories of fear and what's going to happen. And then we feel that experience actually inside. We live that experience, and it changes our physiology. So we communicate that message to the universe about this is what's happening. So we bring more of that, right? So if we move on here, I want to put this together to give you an example of this overstimulation and something to look at on this topic of just being overwhelmed, overstimulated. Because in my experience, and what I've seen in other people too, this is what a lot of people's minds look like. Okay? Where there's just too much going on. There's too much going on. And I can tell you, it doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to overthink. You can put a meditation practice into practice for yourself day after day, and you can quiet the mind down. You can let some of these thoughts, stories, and images, and you can let some of these things filter out. You can quiet things down in there and organize things very nicely. Okay? But this is what a lot of minds look like now. There's too much going on. There's so much going on in the conscious mind that can be unconscious too. It's like we're not even aware that there's all these thoughts happening, right? Our mind is going in 7 different directions at once, and because of that, we act in 7 different directions at once, and our actions are split, our attention is split. So because of that, at an energetic level, at a nervous system type level, we communicate that we're not safe. We communicate that we're overstimulated, that there's too much going on, not enough time, which turns into rushing, right? We rush because there's not enough time. And it reflects on our results, right? So the ideal situation is what we talked about. We want to clear up the conscious mind and make it a more enjoyable place to exist, or make it a quieter place to live. So we can strategically put the thoughts, images, beliefs, and inner stories in there that we want. We can intentionally choose the things that we want to focus on. And when you start this and you've never done it before, it's going to feel like an uphill battle. But over time, as you practice meditation, you practice quieting the mind, cleaning things up in there, and being intentional about the things you think about, the area you put your focus, the emotions you feel on a consistent basis. It might feel like you're working upstream, but eventually it flips and it goes in your favor. Those new seeds that you plant need time to grow. Okay? And the old beliefs, the old thoughts, the old results need a little time to die off. Okay? So, let's see, where are we at? We're about 40 minutes in. We're about 40 minutes in. So, you become what you think about. You become what you think about. That this is the whole inspiration for this video here. And man, when I came across this mind diagram here, this simplified things very nicely. And you can use it for yourself now to be very practical and become aware of the things you're letting marinate in your mind and the feelings associated with them. Thoughts are always connected with a feeling. Thoughts are always connected with a feeling. And when you have a thought, you feel a certain way, it makes you act a certain way. So we want to use that in alignment with where we're trying to go. We want to think thoughts that are in alignment with our goal. We want to feel a certain way that's in alignment with our goal. And we want to take action that's in alignment with our goal. So, if anyone has any questions, comments, feel free to put them in the chat, in the comments. And I want to hear some thoughts on this. So, we're at about 40 minutes, and we're going to wrap it up here pretty quick. But, yeah, GG's. GG's first live stream on the channel here. Basically turned into like a video. Whew, hey man. Oh, when I get talking about this stuff, it gets you know, I get worked up. I get going. So, is anyone out there in the chat? Can anyone confirm? Anyone out there in the chat? We're going to wrap things up here for this one at about 40 minutes. Anybody out there? If there's any questions, comments, concerns, I'd like to hear from people, so you can throw them in the comments. But we're going to wrap this up then. For anyone watching, appreciate you all. On my YouTube channel as well, appreciate you all. We've seen the most growth in the month of, over the past month that we've had on the channel. So we gained like 50, 60 subs in like a month's time frame. So, alrighty, I'm gonna wrap this up. Appreciate you all. Cheers.